Hello, everybody. This is Mary Ladson Thomas coming your way from Georgetown, South Carolina. I know that most of you know by now that my brother Richard Ladson passed in New York on Friday. His daughter Renee, my niece, she posted some things, her children, my daughter posted things, and I'm so very, very happy about that. It's just so wonderful, and we are blessed that we were able to locate my brother Richard. Some people call him Sue. We are so very happy that he was located on last week, Tuesday, by the transit police, the subway police, noticing that he was very, very confused on the train. So they were able to contact an EMS for them to meet them at the next stop and took him to Jamaica Hospital in Queens, where they hospitalized him and they contacted me. And then I was able to let them get in contact with Renee. Richard was confused, but he was able to give them his name, his address down here, his age, his birth date, the year, and that he had a daughter in Bronx, New York, Renee Ladson Knox, and his sister that lived right next door to him in his house down here, Mary Ladson Thomas. So therefore, he was able to give them all of the information that he needed. He was hospitalized for Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. And before he left the hospital on Thursday, all of his vital signs all day long were perfect. So he was able to go home with his daughter Renee in the Bronx, and they had like a family reunion with food, and Richard was able to drink all of the Yoo-hoo drinks and Mountain Dews that he wanted, and was able to say he was singing, and he couldn't get up too much to dance, so he was sitting down dancing on the chair like that, and went to bed about something after 11. The next morning was able to talk to Renee, but within 10 minutes after that, after Renee was on the phone and went back to check on him, he did not respond. And that's when they had to have someone to come to do CPR. Then EMS came, they did CPR. Then he had another heart attack on the way going to the hospital, but he did not survive that one. Even after getting to the doctor at the hospital, they tried to bring him back, doing everything they could, but they couldn't. But we were just so very, very happy that Richard was located and was able to have a family reunion with his children and everything. And it's just wonderful to know that. So now the family can have closure. And remember, months ago, when everybody was wondering where Richard was, we told them that Richard was in New York, because that's what he has been doing since back like in the late 1970s. So he did that this time. He would always come back home. So he's coming back home now. So we got closure. He's coming back home now. And this will probably make everybody feel better. And it made me feel better once I realized it. The same way Richard had all of that information to give them at the hospital on Friday, with all of the precincts and everything all over New York at any given time, August, September, October, November, December, and January, if Richard wanted us to be contacted to send him a ticket along with money like how he used to always do when he was ready to come home, he would have. So he lived his life the way he wanted to, and he did it his way. Richard did it his way. So if he wanted to come home any earlier, he would have. And a lot of people, they would say, oh, y'all should have kept better check on him. Kept better check on Rich? This guy was so smart. This guy was so brilliant. All people knew is that he was the man that liked to walk. No one knew him like we did, but Rich knew exactly what he was doing. And like I said, he would come back home when he got good and ready. So now he's coming back home. And a lot of people said, well, why did he leave and stay so long? Well, he did what he wanted to do. And then he got so tired of people bombarding him and bothering him about, hey, man, what about lottery this, lottery that? He got to the point that he didn't even want to go to the store by himself. He kept asking me, take me to the store, take me to the store. I says, why are you asking me so much lately to take you to the store? He said, because there's always people coming up to me asking me about lottery. Hey, don't you have lottery money? Don't you this? So he said he felt that if he had asked me to take him to the store, he could rush out and say, oh, I got to go. My sister gave me a ride or something of that nature. So in a way, we sort of think that he got tired of everybody asking him that down here because he was a very private person and different things of that nature, and he didn't really want people bothering him. He didn't like people living with him. He loved living alone. He loved to walk. The doctor told us the walking was therapy. They said the walking was therapy. He did not want to go to no senior citizen function, like at a senior citizen center or anything like that. When, so forth, some people say, oh, y'all should have had him in a facility that he could live and be protected, whatever. Look, if you had put him in a facility, he would have never lived to be almost 77 because he would not been able to walk all day long. Sometimes he would walk 24 hours and buy scratch-off lottery tickets all night long. But that was his life. He lived a very eccentric life. He was diagnosed as schizophrenic, so we don't know what all the things that went on in his mind, but he was a loving person, he was a peaceful person, and he was not a violent person, So our brother and Renee's father, he's coming home. He's going to be laid to rest. And like I always say, is anything else that you want to know about Richard, ask me, Liza. Well, if you can't ask Pike, you can ask Winella. You can ask Renee. Renee, we know him longer than Renee. You know what I'm saying? But then Renee know her father too. But then there are things about him that even Renee don't know that we knew by being like little children that grew up in the same house. So anyway, our brother Richard is coming home. And a lot of people fell into that mode of listening to gossip. Some people were saying he was dead. Some people were saying that, he won a bunch of money and he gave it to Mary Lou and Liza. And some people even was cruel and horrible to even say, they don't want him to come back home. They don't want him. How horrible and how terrible. People know me. They know Liza and they know Pike. They know our family. They've been knowing us all their life. And for them to listen to gossip long enough to think that, and some of them got to the point, rather than to stop and ask how Rich was doing, or had we heard anything, they wouldn't ask us because they had fed in, or they were feeding into so much gossip, they would just ask other people. But you know what? I'm going to say like what Tupac Shakur said. I ain't mad at you. I love you. I always had love in my heart for people. So even though when I know people feed into things like that, they don't mean to, but if you listen to it long enough, you'll feed into it. But guess what? I ain't mad at you. You just was being human. You know what I'm saying? But then the most important thing now is that everybody got closure, because Richard, known as that man that walks all over Georgetown and dance and be scratching off his lottery ticket, he's coming home. So all we can all say now is, Rich, Sue, welcome home. Okay, everybody, love you. And everybody we pray, because all kinds of things just touch every family. And that's just it. Okay? Bye-bye now.